Wake and Baker's cheesecake roll. Cheesecake roll. A cheesecake, strawberry cheesecake to be exact. A strawberry cheesecake roll using our signature bully mix, which you can get on our website. Start with the bully mix. This is the magic mix. So one thing you have to understand is inside the bully mix is there's a small package of yeast inside the bag, and I will be showing you. This is my mixing bowl. I will be dumping the bully mix inside the bowl. And as you can see here, this is the yeast that's inside the mix. So it's very important to remember to remove this yeast before you mix anything else into it. So we'll start out by taking our yeast and pouring it into our bully mix. At this point, what you want to do, whether if you're using a stand mixer or you're doing this by hand, you want to mix this yeast really well into the bully mix, like so. All right, now that our mix has the yeast inside of it, we're gonna start the process of making our dough. So to start off, we all know half cup of beer, a half cup of water. If you choose not to use beer, that's fine. You can use a whole cup of water. However, I will urge you to use the beer because the beer gives our dough a really unique flavor, and that's what makes our dough special. That's one of our elements that make our dough special. So what I'm pouring in is the beer and the water. Next, add 1 egg, just like that. Next, 2 tablespoons of butter, no more than 3. I kind of eyeballed this, 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter is fine. And at this point, I'll be using a stand mixer. However, if you choose to mix it by hand, this will be the process where you start mixing your dough. So I will be using a stand mixer to get my dough ready, and we'll go to the next step from there. Okay, right now, so our dough started to mix. It's been mixing for about 8 minutes now. And if you see it, it's kind of sticky. As you can see, if you try to stretch it, it rips away. And this is letting me know that this dough is not finished. So you know what? I need to give it a little bit more time. Your mixing times could be different, especially if you do it by hand. It's one of those things where you have to be patient, and eventually you'll get there. Okay, let's look at our dough now. Really soft. As you can see, if you look at the dough, it's nice and smooth. It stretches without tearing. So that's your indication whether you're doing it by hand or doing it with a mixer, if it stretches without tearing like it did before, relatively. Like this, you can kind of see the light shine through the dough without it ripping, and that's the goal. So our dough is done, and what we're going to do from this step is we're going to place it in the refrigerator until tomorrow for best results. That's what I like to do. Or you let this rise on your kitchen counter. I get a bowl, either spray the bowl or just put a little dab of olive oil or vegetable oil, or whatever you use for an oil, in the bowl, and you take your dough, flip it around, cover the dough with a little oil, cover this, place it in your fridge or your countertop until tomorrow. Okay, we got our dough covered, a little wrap, we got it oiled, a little bit of oil in the dough, and I will be placing this in the refrigerator until tomorrow. Give it 6 to 12 hours. It can go as long as a day and a half. I've even made this when the dough was 2 days old. That's even fine. But you can store this until you're ready to use it. I like to sit around 6 to 12 hours in the refrigerator. Okay, what we're gonna do now is I'll put a little flour down. I like to keep a little flour on hand to dust the countertop. And we're gonna flatten our dough. In a bowl, I have my 8 ounces of cream cheese. I'm sorry, 4 ounces of cream cheese. 8 tablespoons of softened butter. I'm going to just throw that in there like that. And at this point, we're going to give it a nice mix. Like I said, if you don't have a stand mixer, it's cool to use a hand mixer for this. And we're going to give it a nice and now it's coming together. You kind of want to stop your mixer, scrape your bowl down a little bit, just to make sure we get the sides. I happen to have an attachment to my mixer where it has kind of like a little squeegee on the side, which is kind of cool if you have one of these. Kind of a cool upgrade. This is where we're gonna add our 2 cups of powdered sugar, as well as our vanilla. But the powders, we're gonna add this to it slowly. Because it can get really messy. See how it's coming, and as you see, they're starting to get a little brown. I should have maybe pulled this maybe 2 minutes ago, but they're still good. So I'm gonna let these things cool a little bit. And here it is, finished product using our signature bully mix. Strawberry cheesecake rolls. Delish. Don't forget, follow us on Instagram, Bully Boy Baking. And follow my personal Instagram, DJ Doughboy79. Happy cooking.